So, quick update. I had to send my controller, which is this US Shift Quick6 controller, back to US Shift. As you can see right here, they had to update the controller to the latest firmware, version 5.9 Transbrake Pro. Basically, right here it says it has an error after a burnout. So what was happening was, I take the car out, I do a burnout at the track before I make a run, and no matter if I did it in manual mode or in automatic mode, after the burnout and the tires came to a sudden stop, such as driving out of the burnout box or whatever, I had that error code come up on my controller. I wouldn't really know it until I go to use a trans brake, and as I push the button, the car would actually roll through the beams. The only way to clear it was to turn the car off and then crank it back up, which is a real pain when you're trying to get ready to make a pass. So after doing it a couple times and asking a bunch of questions to US Shift, they said, oh yeah, we've got a firmware update for that. So the nice thing is Kevin over there told me to send it back. He'd take care of sending it back right away, update the firmware. So I think I shipped it to him on Monday and the unit came in Friday. So hats off to them for taking care of the issue. They said it was a known issue. They had other people had the same problem. So the nice thing is it was easy as just taking it out, unplugging it, putting it in a box, and there it is. But this is what does all the magic, making a 6R80 work in your car. So that's where it plugs in for your solenoids, your linkage from your shifter. This is where I plug in with my laptop to actually make changes to it. But yeah, so now I'll plug it in, make sure my settings are still there from before. And then, yeah, we'll move on to the next video that talks about the intake manifold. And while we're here, let's give you a quick teaser about it. So, currently, sans intake manifold. But there you go. So, next video, talk about the intake manifold, how the intake had to be modified because it was a Sullivan intake for a Navigator, but the Navigator ports don't line up to a Ford GT set of heads, which is the supercar heads. And so, long story short, had a company in Florida that modified it. Once they modified it, they went inside the intake and they put epoxy in, they reshaped it. Well, after 11 years, the epoxy started to pull away, actually crack and come apart, and pieces of it were falling down into the motor. So, we'll talk about that in the next video, how Melvin over at Fastlane went in, ground it all out, and is currently in the process of putting new epoxy in there and making it flow, getting it all so it'll flow properly. But right now, the car is currently idle. Luckily, no damage happened, so we're good. Found it before any catastrophic damage could fall down in there and tear the motor up, or basically tear the valves up. But we're good. Motor's still good after 11 years. Hasn't been apart in 11 years, but she's ready. Stay tuned.